It begins on a cold New Year's Day in 1975. The kind of morning where the air feels heavy, like the world hasn't quite decided to move forward yet. Inside a small, worn-out car parked on a quiet London street sits a man named Archie Jones. The engine hums softly beneath him. His hands rest on the steering wheel, still, almost too still. He stares ahead, eyes unfocused, like he's trying to see something beyond the glass. Or maybe, trying not to see anything at all. "This is it," he mutters. No drama. No note. No grand speech. Just a quiet decision made by a man who feels like his life has already slipped past him. Archie takes a breath. Long, slow. The kind of breath you take when you're about to disappear. And then, a sharp knock on the window. "Oi, you can't park here." Archie blinks. The world crashes back in. A butcher stands outside, apron stained, expression annoyed, not concerned, just irritated. Archie stares at him for a second. Then exhales. Not relief. Not disappointment. Something in between. "Right," he says softly. And just like that, a life that was about to end keeps going. That's the strange thing about fate. It doesn't wait for your permission. Days pass. Then weeks. Life, in its usual messy way, continues. And somewhere in that chaos, Archie meets Clara. Clara is impossible to ignore. She moves through the world like she belongs to it in a way Archie never has. Young. Bright. Unpredictable. Her laughter fills space. Her silence demands attention. "You look like someone who got lost on the way to somewhere better," she tells him the first time they really talk. Archie chuckles. "Funny. I was thinking the same about myself." Clara tilts her head, studying him. "But you're still here," she says. Archie doesn't answer. Because he doesn't know why. They marry quickly. Too quickly, according to anyone watching. But neither of them is interested in waiting. Clara's past lingers in quiet ways. A mother deeply devoted to faith. A childhood filled with strict rules and louder expectations. "I had to leave," Clara says one night, her voice low. "Otherwise I wouldn't have known who I was without her telling me." Archie nods, even though he doesn't fully understand. He rarely does. But he listens. And sometimes, that's enough. Across the city, another man wrestles with a very different kind of conflict. Samad Iqbal. Where Archie drifts, Samad resists. Where Archie accepts, Samad fights. He stands in a small restaurant, balancing trays, forcing polite smiles. But inside, there is frustration, pride, and a constant, gnawing fear. "I am not meant for this life," Samad says one evening, sitting across from Archie. "I come from greatness. From history. From honor." Archie sips his drink. "Yeah. And now?" Samad hesitates. "Just for a second. Now. I serve people who don't even know my name." The silence that follows is heavy. "I don't want my children to forget who they are," Samad continues. "They must know where they come from." Archie shrugs. "I barely know where I'm going." Samad frowns. That is exactly the problem. Time moves forward. As it always does. Children are born. A daughter to Archie and Clara. Irina. Curious from the start. Always watching. Always questioning. And twin boys to Samad. Majid and Millat. Identical in face. But from the beginning. Not the same. Majid is quiet. Observant. He asks questions that don't have simple answers. "Why do we believe something just because we're told to?" he asks once. Samad stiffens. "Because it is our duty." Majid doesn't look convinced. Millat, on the other hand, burns. He laughs louder. Fights quicker. Feels everything more intensely. "You worry too much," Millat tells his father. "This is life. You live it." Samad watches them both. And somewhere deep inside, he panics. Because the world around them is changing. Faster than he can control. "England is taking them away from me," he says one night. And in a moment of desperation, he makes a choice that will echo for years. Majid is sent away, back to Bangladesh, to become what Samad believes he should be. The day he leaves is quiet. Too quiet. "Will you come back?" Millat asks. Majid nods. Of course. But neither of them truly understands what that means. Years pass. And absence reshapes everything. Millat grows up in a world that constantly reminds him he doesn't fully belong. Not here. Not there. Not anywhere. At school, he is judged. At home, He is expected to be something he doesn't feel. Who am I supposed to be? He snaps one day. Samad doesn't have an answer. So Millat finds one himself. In rebellion. In anger. In ideas that promise certainty. Meanwhile, Irina grows into someone who refuses to be defined. I'm not just one thing, she says. I'm not your expectations. Clara watches her carefully. Because she recognizes that fire. Just be careful, Clara says softly. The world doesn't always like people who decide things for themselves. Irina smiles. Then the world should learn. And then Majid returns. Samad stands at the door, heart pounding. This is it. The moment everything is supposed to fall back into place. But when the door opens, the man standing there is not the son he imagined. Majid speaks differently, thinks differently, believes differently. I don't see the world the way you do, he tells his father calmly. Samad stares at him. You were supposed to remember who you are. Majid meets his gaze. I do. The words hit harder than any argument. Because they are true. Just not in the way Samad expected. And then there's Millat. Pulled deeper into his beliefs. More certain. More extreme. You've forgotten everything, he tells Majid. Majid shakes his head. No. I just chose differently. The tension between them builds. Not just as brothers. But as symbols of something bigger. Two paths. Two identities. Two answers to the same question. And somewhere in the middle, Archie watches. Still steady. Still strangely calm. Maybe none of us really know what we're doing, he says one night. Everyone looks at him. And for once, no one argues. Because deep down, they all feel it. That uncertainty. That quiet, persistent question. Who am I, really? Everything builds. Slowly. Inevitably. Until one moment. One place. Where all their lives collide. Words are exchanged. Accusations rise. Beliefs clash. You don't get to decide who I am, Millat shouts. Then who does? Samad fires back. Silence. Because there is no easy answer. Majid steps forward. Maybe that's the point, he says. Maybe no one decides. Irina watches. Taking it all in. This is what happens, she says quietly. When people are too afraid to let go of the past. And too unsure to face the future. The room stills. Because she's right. In the end. There is no clean resolution. No perfect understanding. Only people. Trying. Failing. Learning. Living with the choices they've made. And the ones they didn't. Archie stands outside later that night. Looking up at the sky. Same as always. He smiles. Not because everything makes sense. But because it doesn't have to. Life moves forward. Messy. Complicated. Unpredictable. And somehow, that's enough. Because identity isn't something you inherit. It isn't something you're given. It's something you build. Piece by piece. Choice by choice. And even then, it's never finished. Somewhere in the distance, laughter echoes. Voices overlap. Life continues. And the past, it doesn't disappear. But it doesn't have to define you either. Not completely.